Dom Nicastro here, managing editor for CMSWire, and I'm with a new member of our contributor community. His debut column is today. This video is embedded into the article. We hope you're enjoying the article. Andy Mickelson, VP of Customer Support for Vertafore. What's going on, Andy?
Oh, not much. Nice to be here. Glad to join and talk about customer support.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're in that role, you're living and breathing it every day. So that's really cool to have you in our community. We love having those, high level customer support, CX folks that are just living the dream. So let's go backwards for a minute, Andy, and kind of like bring us our listeners up to speed of how you got into this role, starting from the very beginning, like your career trajectory, if you will.
Sure, it's kind of funny, right? A little cliche, but it goes back to my first job in high school where I was bagging groceries at a local mom and pop grocery store. Right within a matter of months, I had worked my way up to actually being the customer support champion for
No
the whole
kidding.
front end of the grocery store. I just kind of
Wow.
found my niche in working with customers and being a people person and finding kind of what I really liked. And so, fast forwarding throughout my career, I started in the customer support role, right? Being a rep, answering phone calls, doing customer support for many years for a few different organizations. Led my way up into leadership, where I've worked with some pretty large companies, including Intuit, DirecTV. Um, Kind of transitioned there, took a lot of the experiences that I learned from kind of some of your larger call centers, and went to work for a nonprofit where I helped them kind of build all these foundations up and get their customer support organization running. And then I pivoted into InsurTech here at Vertafore. And so I've been with Vertafore for about 6.5 years now. When I was hired in as the director of customer support for our Denver location. So our goal being that we kind of built up our Denver office, got everything humming, right? Got things going in the right direction, build out those, operational efficiencies, implemented a lot of improvements. And that led myself to getting promoted into the vice president of customer support for Vertafore, which is where I'm at today.
Andy, you've literally done every position in the world of customer service. Like you have bagged groceries, you've been a manager at a grocery store. I mean, then now, you've done contact center stuff, you've answered phones, and now you're leading teams. That is fascinating to go through that. And you kind of like have this, you're at a great vantage point of knowing what your team and the frontline folks are going through, and I would imagine you kind of, take that into consideration when you're leading, when you're coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, my experiences is really what helped me develop my skills as a leader, and knowing kind of the leaders that I love to work for. I wanted to be one of those leaders for my employees. And so I think, right, one of the key fundamental philosophies of me being a leader is building those genuine relationships and being able to talk to all walks of employees, right, and all walks of customers, whether or not it's, the user for our software all the way up to the CEO of maybe a large company, right? So yeah, I think it's really helped me set the foundation for kind of building a world class customer support organization, which is what we have here at Vertiful.
Yeah, thankless job, right? Being on that front line. No one calls the front line agents just to say, "Hey, just let you do. No, you're doing a great job. See you later." You
No, no,
know,
they do
it's like, "Hey, I got an issue. Fix it." And behind all that is the magic of data, and you're collecting a lot of voice of the customer stuff, and you're trying to figure out the best way to respond to certain calls. So, man, I can it's absolutely a grind and a thankless job. So, good for you for sticking with it all these years through your career. You have never left customer
not.
support.
Absolutely, yeah. It's if you were to ask me if I'd be in customer support this far into my career, I would have told you no.
Yeah.
In college, I have a degree in informatics from Indiana University, where it was interesting because a lot of it was solving problems with technology, and it was a lot of that centered around what you do with information. And I mean, as
Yeah.
you know, information now is key, and who talks to more customers, who gathers more information than customer support. And
Yeah.
I always say, right, if we don't do anything with that information, we're doing a major disservice, right? So
Yeah.
I always encourage my employees to raise their hand if there's any issues, right? Don't just fix an issue and move on, right? If you're seeing a pattern, right? Raise your hand. Let's actually fix this stuff. Let's fix these broken windows for our customers. Let's leverage that information to really drive this world-class customer support, which was what we have here at Vertafore.
Yeah, and I love how we're getting into real-time analytics now, predictive analytics, what a call, how a call may go, according to what's being said. You can give real-time scripts, real-time responses, and I think that just empowers the agents and makes
Absolutely.
them, versus this Monday morning quarterbacking, 2 weeks later, like, hey, here's all the things you did wrong, you know, and
Sure.
why not empower them in the moment and say, hey,
Absolutely.
this is what we're gonna fix this right away. So you don't have this horrible customer experience and employee experience, which kind of ties into this whole article you're writing about just getting better at internal communication strategies that ultimately will help your agents, your customer support teams, and then in turn, of course, help the customers. So why don't you give like a broad overview of the column and kind of like where you were going with this internal communication strategy talk?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, right, the goal of the column is to really stress the importance of communication, specifically internal communication for your teams. Right. I think how I view it is if you have an educated and informed workforce, they're going to feel empowered. They're going to have the answers, right? And in turn, they're going to like their jobs. They're going to feel more comfortable being in the day-to-day interactions with these customers. And as a result of that, our customers feel that through the phone, right? I think, so implementing the kind of the four main items that I did in at Vertafore here has really helped us kind of drive that communication plan internally. And I mean, as a result of that, we've seen our customer satisfaction scores go through the roof, which is phenomenal, right? And I mean, for the most part, right, um, like all of our customers feel that emotional connection with our employees on every single interaction, and that's really what we're striving to, right? Everybody's had those interactions where you call customer support and you can feel on the other end that it like that employee may not be very happy, right? They
Yeah.
don't love their job, they may not know the answers, and it's frustrating them, right? And that bleeds through to the phone, right? So our goal here is to really empower our employees, educate them, right? Make them happy so that they're building those emotional connections on every single phone call. So it's not just a transactional by nature, right? Answer the question, move on, and really kind of make sure we're taking the time to build those experiences with our customers. And so I think as a result of that, right, like I said, our customer satisfaction scores are through the roof. And I mean, we hear it from our customers on a daily basis.
Yeah. And one of the ways to do that is to throw surveys out, to the employees. And customer support folks are obsessed with employee surveys of customers, right?
Mhm.
And that's a huge part of it. But to dial that back and actually say, hey, what's on the mind of our employees? Let's start there and kind of work back. And how do we empower our employees? I'm wondering if you, Andy, at the top of your mind or top of your head, put you on the spot kind of, but if you can remember a specific example of feedback you got in an employee survey and how that translated into making something actionable on the front end.
Yeah. So, I mean, so to kind of maybe backtrack a little bit, so we do these employee engagement surveys every 6 months, and we've been doing them for roughly around 6 years or so here at Vertafore. We do it for
Nice.
all of our departments, not just customer support, but we can drill down into customer support and we can kind of measure, right, the trending over time, right? And we can see kind of what's going up, what's going down, what are the specific comments that our employees are telling us around it. And we had zeroed in on the communication aspect of it. We had heard, maybe rewinding a few, like several years, that our employees may not have known kind of some of these new items that were coming out in the releases. So our customers were getting this information. They called into support. They're asking about this, and our employees were like, "Well, let me find that out, right?" And then they have to, it's
Whole
not kind of like
time.
that one call resolution. They have to follow up, and another follow up. We have to get the information. So our goal there was to provide this, kind of a what's going on with all of our products, all of our releases to our employees on a specific timely basis. And we've done that through monthly emails as well as kind of our weekly or our monthly Ask Me Anything questionnaires as well, where my employees have a direct meeting with me where they can come, they can bring questions they want to ask, right? Anything and everything, personal related if they want to, but most of the time it has to do with our department or company and our products. So we found that fixing that was a huge key for our improvements that we made within our department. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it boosts employee experience too. I don't know if you guys measure like, what is it, like EPS? Like, there's net promoter score, but then there's employee net promoter score, right?
yep,
Like, I'm
yep.
wondering if you keep kind of tabs on those because that's equally as important.
Absolutely. That's one of the key metrics that we look at with our employee engagement surveys is that employee net promoter score.
Yeah.
And so we can see kind of how it's going up and hopefully not going down. And if it is going down, we can kind of look at the trending from that and we can glean things. And then there's usually it's not just, you go read the survey and then you're like, okay, that's what it is. We read the survey, we follow up, we have focus groups, right? We have feedback sessions with our employees to dig in further to kind of make sure we're clarifying the responses from those surveys. And I
Yeah.
think that's really helped us kind of hone in and develop these communication strategies that really help Vertafore out as a whole.
It's amazing when I mean, human beings are just um, a collection of secrets, right? We just don't let things out. We just let it fester. This is really hard about my job, and why don't they fix this? But meanwhile, we haven't told anybody. So
Yeah,
you hope that the employees can be as transparent as possible in those surveys and say, please tell us everything. Tell us
totally. And
everything.
it's funny you mentioned that, but I always so we have our new employees go through what's called a boot camp, and every
Mm,
single one of those that I go speak to, I tell them, hey, our job is not only to answer the phones and help our customers. Our job is to actually eliminate our jobs, right? Like you should never
mm.
have to call customer support because something's
Yeah.
broken, right? Like we'd love it if you would just call us, like you said at the start of this, just to tell us how great we are, right? Or honestly, how do I use the product a little bit better? And
Yeah.
we'd love to have all of our calls be like that. So one of our other goals is, like I said, eliminate our roles because, if they're calling in and there's a pattern of, hey, this is broken or this needs fixing or this needs improvement, and we're just saying, okay, thank you, and moving on and not bubbling those up, working with our product and development teams to fix those, we're really doing a disservice to our customers. So that's kind of the second major pieces of what we do is to fix those broken windows for our customers. So
Yeah, 100%. I'm interested to expand upon the Ask Me Anything sessions.
mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we implemented those a couple of years ago, and I think it was probably a direct result of kind of a shifting to our flexible first work force now, our environments, right? With COVID coming into
Yeah.
place, prior to COVID, I would go around and travel and visit our offices and have those one-on-one times with all of the employees, get to visit them. I'd have office hours; they can come chat with me, whatever that is. Since COVID happened and we all kind of went remote, it was our way for me to kind of still stay in front and answer any questions that they have. So we do it monthly. They don't have to come. They can sign up. They can ask their manager to attend. I don't have an agenda. I leave it totally on the people that attend to ask questions. And so they come to that. And like I said, we'll go around and everybody will get one question. If we have more time, we'll go back through and we take notes. And if we have follow-up items, we do that. And it's a great way for me and my direct leaders to have that kind of, continue that personal touch with all of our employees as we're scattered, remotely throughout the country. So
Yeah, that's huge. Finally looking ahead, as a VP of customer support, what are some things that are top of mind in 2024? Maybe a little tease on some future CMSWire columns, like something you're really doubling down on, whether it's leadership, employee experience, AI, like anything. Is there something that's top of mind for you personally in your role?
yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So I think one thing that we had implemented, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, was what's called incentivized career pathing. So my department, specifically at Vertafore, is kind of like the minor leagues throughout the rest of Vertafore. We're building that product knowledge up,
Mm.
and it's really kind of become a feeder to hiring in other departments throughout the company. And so we were losing some of that knowledge, and having to replace some of that knowledge gap was a challenge, right? Whereas some of the other call centers that I had worked for were more your traditional churn and burn. You're just hiring and firing people, right? Whereas Vertafore,
Mm.
we actually hire some of the best talent I've ever had. And our goal is to develop that talent. So we built these incentivized career pathing models in internally to really keep them and to help them grow their career in customer support. So there's these different levers that they can hit to achieve, to make more money, right? To grow their experience, which also helps their knowledge as well, which also helps them be more valuable throughout the rest of the company. And
Yeah.
so constantly, I think one of the main things that I'm really focused on is to continue to drive that, continue to make sure that's a selling point for our employees within Vertafore. And I think the other big thing is artificial intelligence, right? Like, how can we leverage that? We implemented an AI chatbot several years ago, and I don't think we're really getting our bang for our buck. So we're actually in the process of
Mm.
re re reevaluating that, and we're looking forward to implementing something that I think will help empower our customers to be able to get that real immediate self-care response without having to contact an agent. However, we love, right, in insurance it's a people business, and so
Yeah.
we love having those contacts and interactions with our customers. Our predominant volume is through our phones, so our
Yeah.
customers love picking up the phone and calling and chatting with
Mm.
us. And I think that's the best way to really make those emotional connections. However, me being a consumer, I love to leverage chat. I love to leverage AI when I can, because we may not have the time to spend on the phone, right, working through something with
Yeah.
a support rep. So I think there's a lot that we're kind of in exploring with regards to the artificial intelligence to really help, not only drive that self-care for our customers, but I think there's things you can do internally with
Yeah.
self-care to help with your knowledge base and getting that more timely relevant information to your reps who are actually working with customers, right? Like, what are the top things when somebody asks this question? What are the top articles? What's the top help content for that? So really helping them get better and faster at their jobs, because I really think that emotional connection is going to remain huge, especially in insurance. And so if we could tap into that, on the
Yeah.
internal side, I think that's kind of key.
Yeah, I like AI being like an intern.
Yeah,
Like you said, staying in the background and just kind of pushing information to you to serve your customer, right? Because
absolutely.
putting that AI chatbot in the front line of things is huge because
Yeah,
imagine an employee that came to your company and said, I will work for you 24/7. I will be the first person to answer every single call, chat, phone call, whatever, email. That's going to be me, and I'm going to work 24/7 for you anywhere in the world. How much would you vet that human being? You'd be
right.
like, this person is going to be the face of the company. So that's why,
Exactly.
you customer support leaders like you must be really, heads down and evaluating these AI tools because they're going to serve you at the front line every single second.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's huge, right? And I think, we kind of hit on the major part is we don't want to remove that emotional connection and that personal connection that we do have with our employees. But if there's easy little quick wins we can do, like, hey, reset a password. I shouldn't have to talk to somebody to reset a password, right? If the AI
Yeah,
bot could do things like that, great, right? We have some pretty complex products, which are really great.
yeah,
And, I think having an AI chatbot try to solve some of those issues is unrealistic. And so that's
yeah,
why I think, you know, our employees having that control over the content that they're getting from AI is huge in our industry, and really helping to empower them to leverage that technology to
yeah,
better serve these customers. So that's kind of our vision at Vertafore, is to make sure we're not removing, right, the employee personal connection with that, but
yeah,
actually leveraging in it and making it better for our employees to do their jobs.
100%. Andy Mickelson, we can't thank you enough for being a CMSWire contributor. Number one, congrats and welcome to the community.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
As you could tell, I love to talk about customer support. Been my life.
No.
So
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm super glad because this is our audience. This is our one of our main audiences on CMS Wire that we like to give actionable advice to. You have four nice ways of improving internal communication. And in turn, I think it's a good little roadmap to improve EX and CX at the same time. That's
absolutely.
we're hearing a lot about those two dynamics merging and serving one another. So again, thank you so much for the column. Looking forward to many more.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
You too.